the Houston Texans not having any preseason, having some deficiencies on their offensive line, and Deshaun Watson having to scramble for his life, I think, every single time he dropped back to pass. Now, David Johnson was pretty good, who they got in a trade for DeAndre Hopkins from the Arizona Cardinals. He did score a touchdown. He looked okay. He is not going to be a difference maker that's going to mitigate the pass rush that's coming down the Houston Texans' throat every single night. I mean, I like Deshaun. He got paid. But if they don't protect him, I see a Russell Wilson-like struggle happening for the next couple of years, where he's got to be a magician just to make some things happen with that team. Now, it's only the first game. So it's the first game for the Houston Texans, and so maybe their offensive line gets better after now having actual contact, and it's the first game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe they come back closer to earth as the season goes on, but there's no way I will chalk up a 16-0 season to anyone. It's so hard to do. It's so hard to be on. It's so hard to, most importantly, BT, stay healthy. It's hard. So you can't even entertain it until they get maybe halfway through the season at 8-0.
There's been so many times, and you can just go to every single season. There's always a couple of week one results where a team that we thought was supposed to be really good looks bad, and conversely, a team that we thought was going to be bad, somehow they just they rip off this win. We're like, what?
Yeah.
And those are outliers. And then eventually most teams, find their means and they kind of get back to what they're supposed to be. The Texans are a tricky team to call because nobody thought they'd win the game last night. They were almost double-digit dogs. They were 9-point dogs. So Vegas was saying they were supposed to get blown out. They did. But it's also a blowout at the hands of the defending champions who look pretty damn good. So it's hard to extrapolate a ton from that. But I'm going to stick with my preseason call of a team that's third best in a division, that's top-heavy, with the Colts and the Titans, and one team that might be the worst in football in the Jaguars. And the Texans are probably 2 levels above the Jags and probably 2 levels beneath the other 2 good teams.
Yeah, no, they're a hard team to evaluate because we know that they have some good players. Will Fuller's a good player. Obviously, Deshaun Watson is really good. Darren Fells I like as their tight end. David Johnson, he hopefully returns to how he is. J.J. Watt is J.J. Watt. There's names that you look at and you're like, okay, they're going to be good. But I think in total, they're going to struggle this season, BT, and it's mainly because of what we just talked about in the first segment. Their offensive line did not protect Deshaun Watson well, and he's a good quarterback. We know this. He wouldn't have gotten paid as much as he got paid if he wasn't. But when he takes 1 or 2 step drops, or he's actually trying to take a 5-step drop, but he gets 1 or 2 steps into that drop, and he's scrambling like, oh wait, how am I getting out of this? And miraculously, he got out of a lot of them. But it disrupts any type of timing that you're trying to get out of your offense. And they do have a new play caller. Tim Kelly is the offensive coordinator now. He was the offensive coordinator last year, but he didn't call the plays. It was mostly Bill O'Brien. So they have a new coordinator. So maybe there's still some growing pains on how to do things that benefit him best. But I'm worried about their offensive line's ability to protect him. More importantly, I know you saw this just like I saw it. There were moments in the game when exactly what we were describing was happening. He was under duress. He was looking for somewhere to get rid of the football, and he just tosses one, not a bad pass, but not really a great one, down a sideline, hoping that his wide receiver is going to run under it. Their wide receivers that they have now aren't running under those. DeAndre Hopkins, he was running under those. So as much as they did the right thing by getting rid of him, it's going to show up in plays like that. He got bailed out on plays like that in previous years. He's not going to get bailed out on plays like that this year.
Yeah, there was a play. It was in the first quarter. There was a really good throw. It was Will Fuller in the flats.
Yeah.
It was, and he purposely twisted him around. Will's got to make that play.
That's right.
And can you explain, because it seems like such a simple thing, but I want you to put it into words that everybody can understand. If you're Will Fuller, who still runs a 4.3 change, one of the fastest guys in the NFL, as we know. Well, Tyreek Hill's faster, but he still has he's a burner. And all these years he's had the luxury, when his hamstrings weren't barking, he's had a lot of injuries, to, never face a double team, always go against a team, second best cornerback, whatever it might be. And, Will Fuller has made a lot of big, long touchdown receptions and splash plays because he's always benefited from Hopkins. So without Hopkins now, it's a shift in dynamic. And not everybody is up to, the task of when you ascend to that more important seat.
Yeah.
Does he have the skill set to be that number one?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either.
I didn't see it a little bit. I didn't see it a lot last night, BT. But here's the difference. So when there's no coverage that's coming over top of you, right? Oh man, there's DeAndre Hopkins over there. We got to make sure safety, whoever you are, whether you're cover 2 or 3 or whatever coverage you're in, make sure you can get over top of DeAndre Hopkins, right? Essentially, it's a double. It's not really, but it's essentially that, right?
Yep.
And so Will Fuller, he doesn't have that on his side. It's like, okay, yeah, if he beats us, he beats us. But let's take away, Hopkins. But now, when you have that coverage coming to you, that extra cover, it changes how the quarterback has to throw you the ball. How many times have we seen, or did we see, DeAndre Hopkins make these ridiculous circus catches, right? It's only because Deshaun Watson is throwing him open, or he's throwing him somewhere where a defender can't make a play on the ball. It requires a very difficult catch. Larry Fitzgerald made these catches like it was like he was eating cereal. You know what I mean? Anquan Boldin.
Was it milky cereal?
It was milky.
A little milky.
My kids don't eat milk with cereal. They don't like milk in their cereal. And I'm like, what's wrong with you guys?
What do they just eat it dry?
They eat it dry.
That's horrendous.
I'm like, what's the point?
No, are you kidding? You got to get like Cocoa Pebbles so that the milk turns into chocolate milk at the end.
I know it.
Oh, or that sugary milk like with Lucky Charms. Are you kidding me?
It's
criminal.
Eat it dry. I'm looking at them like,
oh, that's terrible.
It's like making me choke just looking and watching eating dry cereal.
I've always wondered. Like, there's so many things we take for granted, right? You open the fridge, you put your cereal, you dump milk in it.
Yep.
But at some point, I'm sure somebody put orange juice in there. Like, at what point was it determined that it's milk and not orange juice or cranberry juice or tomato juice? I mean, think about that.
I'm sure the cereal makers of the world actually designed it for milk. That's my guess. I was just kidding. But anyways, my point is, DeAndre Hopkins would get thrown open by Deshaun Watson, and he would have to make tough catches.
Yep.
And so it's an adjust. I'm hoping Will Fuller gets this. And the one that you're talking about, he was getting thrown open, right? He was getting thrown so that he doesn't take a hit. Maybe he can pirouette and make a play downfield. Who knows? It's just it's something he's got to get used to. And if he can't do it, then they're really going to lament letting one of the best wide receivers in football go to the Arizona Cardinals. I know they had to for monetary
finance.
reasons. We talked about it. They had to bring in Laramie Tunsil, yada yada yada. We get it, but it's going to show up more so without having a wide receiver than having an offensive line that blocks for you.
When you've got the highest paid left tackle, when you have the third highest paid inside linebacker as they do, and now a quarterback who got that guaranteed, and rightfully so, bank, you got to trim a little fat. DeAndre Hopkins isn't fat. I mean, and that play, listen,
he's bone, man. He's bone. He's necessary.
True.
He's structurally necessary.
That is true. He's veins. He's the important stuff. He's arteries. The play with Fuller, I know I can make anything seem easy in my office, and I know I didn't play, but that was not a hard play. That was not a high-level degree difficulty play. But what is tough is the rest of the schedule now. You want to say, wow, these guys they're prematurely burying the Texans. They won a bunch of divisional titles. All right, first of all, the division is better at the top now.
Yep.
The Colts O-line, the Colts defense, the Titans are obviously legit.
Yep.
The next 3 games, Teak, they've got the Ravens, at the Steelers, and the Vikings.
Yeah.
They're not winning They're not winning. They're not.
That's rough, man.
I mean, they're going to be 1-3 if they're lucky.
Yeah.
Then they've got the Jags, but then they've got to take on the Titans in Tennessee. Then they got the Packers.
Yeah, there's a good chance that we're counting the Houston Texans out of the season before the first quarter of it's over.
I don't disagree. Especially if the 2 teams at the top get off to quick starts, that would bury them, which you would imagine that they should. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.